Good morning, Libras. Welcome to the Libra Love Boat. Thanks for hopping on board. I hope you're all faring well. Okay. Let's see what's going on for Libra today. Looks like you might be taking a little time out for contemplation. Maybe figuring out your next direction. You may be ignoring someone. Yeah, and trying to, this person could be on your mind heavily, but they may feel like, you may feel like they're an annoyance to you, possibly. Still in your energy as you're trying to figure out your next move or which way you're headed next. Could be, looking at your options. You've been heavily burdened lately. Yeah, it's by someone who hasn't been sincere. Someone that you possibly thought that you could rely on, that they'd be there for you, that you had a bond, a real connection with this person, maybe even some kind of unconditional love for this person, but they turned out to be not the person that you wanted them to be, or you thought they were. They turned out less honorable, and less sincere than you hoped, okay? And you've been carrying this burden. You got a 10 of Wands here. I think you may be able to drop it pretty soon because you're trying to make a big decision right now. A decision that's like a crossroads in your life. I think that you want to drop this burden. You want to drop all this energy that you've been carrying. And you've pretty much come to a decision about it. Even though this energy is still pulling on you, it's still there. I think you're wondering if it can change, if this energy can change in your direction. Can this King of Cups in reverse flip back up and be the person that you want him to be? You're still wondering about that, but you've come to you're coming to a conclusion, and it's an emotional conclusion. You may have blocked this person, but you're still carrying the weight of the situationship or relationship or whatever it is. You're still carrying that weight. Oh, yeah, someone who was dishonest with you, this King of Cups in reverse, who can come off like a real softie, but their intentions are mostly on themselves. They think a lot about themselves because in their heart they have this, they're fearful, they're kind of cowardly. Like, I call the King of Cups in reverse the cowardly lion. For some reason, like in the Wizard of Oz. I don't know. It just strikes me that way. But this guy or woman, they're not sincere. They can't, they can talk a big story, but they can't walk the walk, So that's what you feel like you've been involved with somebody here. There's been insincere, deceitful. They want to return. And that's part of what you're trying to decide, I think. How you're going to react when and if they do return here. Because they could have snuck off on you, ghosted you, lied to you, deceived you in ways, and that was hurtful to you. I don't see your pain right here other than now it's become a burden. It's almost, you're thinking, well, now what am I going to do if they do come back? What am I going to say to them? How am I going to react to this person? How are they going to react to me? You got a feeling they're coming back. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. This King of Cups in reverse has got the Devil card on him. Yeah, they did something to hurt you that was pretty painful, wasn't it? Now you could be chained to their energy. Yeah, you can't shake their energy right now, and they could be chained to yours too. But theirs is not healthy. They got something going on here. Maybe other people involved in the situation. They could have psychological or emotional problems from their youth. They could have addictions of any kind. But this all contributes, whatever it is, whatever these things are, contribute to the negativity that you're feeling towards this King of Cups in reverse. Yeah, you believe they're toxic for you. And so that's why you're trying to figure out, how am I going to treat this person if they come back around? How am I going to deal with this? You could be both bound to each other's energy because you could have had like a lustful thing going on with them here. I don't want to get into that. But okay. You want to move ahead. You want to elevate. You may be elevating right now. Trying to shake this person's energy, trying to wash them out of your hair. You want to move on. You're moving on, actually. I think you're still moving on, even though you've got this energy connection here. You're still moving on. You're still elevating, even though you're carrying the load. So, I think you've had to carry a load for a long time in your life. Just personal issues, responsibilities, all those kind of things. You know what I mean. And you've been good at it. I mean, what I see here is you've made it through. You've tolerated. You've overcome things that maybe other people couldn't even overcome. You've got a boldness to you, and you're strong in the sense that you can hang in there during troubled times and turmoil. You can overcome that. And I feel that you're in that right now, and you're overcoming this situation. You've seen the light, or the vibe is off with this. You're looking back at this Devil card, and you know what's wrong with this person. You know that this person's going to hold you back from moving ahead, or would if you let them stay in your energy. Because it looks like now you've made a decision to elevate, keep moving. You have plans and dreams and ideas here that you want to continue with. Yeah, you've been feeling stuck. I think you've been stuck in this energy for quite some time. Trying to make a decision. You've come up with a decision to help you get stuck and move in a finer, smoother direction here with this Six of Swords in reverse. Yeah, you've come into some kind of conclusion with this Two of Swords in reverse here. Hasn't been easy. Like I say, you might have ended up having to block this person. Yeah. Somehow, some way, you want to be free. Yeah, you want to be free from this energy. You really do. You might think you don't want to be free from it because it's intense, it's powerful, and it's, you're chained to it in some fashion. I'm thinking sexual, but I could be wrong. Anyway, or you feel that, that all they care about is lust. You may not want, you probably want the full enchilada. You might think that all this person's interested in is lust. You want to free yourself. You want to be free. I think you're going to take a leap of faith in the direction that you know is best for you. Libra, you just love to spread those wings and fly. Get back to your old self. Shake this energy. Wash this person out of your hair. That's what I'm getting out of this reading right now. Of course, these readings won't suit all Libras. If this isn't your story, then just bypass it and leave it for somebody else. Yeah, this person has caused you some sleepless nights. You could be thinking this person's a real player, womanizer, or or some kind of Jezebel or whatever. And the thought of of them betraying you or carrying on in this manner of what you think they're carrying on has caused you quite a bit of anxiety. That's the sleepless night card here, the Nine of Swords. You've been grieving. And of course you'd like to get out of that energy. That's why I said, looks like you're trying to wash this person out of your hair. You want to be free from this energy, but something's keeping you trapped in it. Memories. Yeah, the good times you had. How it was when you were with this person. Feeling sad. Yeah. You're feeling sad. You're not together. Because this person, I think they ghosted you or ran out on you. But now they want to come back, or you've just got this heavy expectation that they're going to return. And you're trying to figure out what you're going to say, how you're going to handle it. I would be careful. This person, they could come in with some scheme or devilish technique to persuade you back in. Tell you anything you want to hear or whatever, but it may not be true. They might just want to get you back into their old cycle. You want to be careful about that. Well, you want to be careful all the way around, looks like. Oh yeah. You're relying heavily now on your intuition. You sure are. You're turning up here as the High Priestess. So yeah, your intuition, everything you've been thinking about this person is probably right on. You get downloads and information from the universe, and you're no dummy anyway. Your own experiences in life and what you've been through, and you've been through a lot, it looks like. Those are telling you what's going on with this person. But that doesn't mean you're not sad. That doesn't mean you haven't suffered some anxiety and sleepless nights over this. This has put you through some hell. But with this High Priestess card too, you could have discovered some secrets. Actually just found some stuff out through the grapevine, or just observing them, listening to their words, reading between the lines. Let's see how this person feels about you, Libra. I think I'm going to change decks. That way I get double confirmations sometimes. It's a beautiful day here, actually. Nice and sunny. Another crisp fall day. They're conflicted. They're having a turmoil of some sort. They got a five of wands. Could be at work, could be family issues. They're involved in some kind of competition or, backstabbing, fighting. Something's going on here. Or this could mean that they're just in turmoil in their mind, battling with themselves and their own emotions or issues or something. But we need to get more cards to see what's going on with that. Well, they've been suffering some anxiety, some fears, whatever, while they're going through this, whatever it is. It's been keeping them up in their head, worrying about stuff. They got a sun card in the upright, then right after that, so that's kind of a, whoa, quick change of events. Oh, I see what's going on here now. Yeah, they may be going through some conflict, at work and different things like that, but that's been contributing to their anxiety. But what they want is a fresh new beginning. They've got the Sun card and the Ace of Swords. Wow. They know that they want a truthful relationship here. And they see you as that person that can really brighten up their life and make them happy. Yeah, they see you as a person that is clear and bright, and you probably think that you're lucrative, too. But they're dreaming about what the future would look like with you, and they're thinking it would be the best. They got an Ace of Swords, or they need to come in clean. They need to clean up their act. They know it. They got to come in and be totally honest here. The slate has to be clean for them to have this Sun card. It looks like that's what they want to do. Can this person change that quickly? People do change. You'd like to see this King of Cups in the upright. You'd like to see him sincere and everything. But they scammed you in some way. They ran out on you. What did they do? I don't see what they did. They just caused you some pain. Maybe it's just the ghosting and the in and out, and you could feel that they're a player and they're not sincere, and they're messing around. You don't have clarity. You don't know what's going on, do you? And that's why they know that they have to come in and give you this Ace of Swords in the upright. Your intuition now. You're the High Priestess. They can't pull the wool over your eyes. In fact, they may be intimidated by your spiritual power. They probably don't understand it. They've been up in their mind. They're turmoiling. They're battling. There could be competition for them, other people coming after them. But you're the Sun card here. They could be trying to make some kind of choice. I see a lot of turmoil in their head, because the Eight of Swords here in reverse kind of confirms the Five of Wands. They've been up in their head. but they're getting out of that turmoil. Just thinking about you and the future that they could have with you. That's what they're thinking is going to make them feel better. It's going to relieve this anxiety. If they could come into you and tell you this truth, how they feel, and their plans, what they want, what they see down the road in the future with you. You're just not clear about this person. You've caught him up in something, and you just think they're toxic now. You do. So this person's going to have a rough time. And you've been washing them out of your hair, trying to move away from them so you can continue to elevate. But this person's going to have a hard go of it to try and get past your barriers and boundaries here, it looks like, Libra. Tough go of it. Excuse me, my nose seems to be running a little bit for some reason. I got a bit of allergies or something going on. Yeah, okay. Oh. Is that them? Okay, let me keep going here. Sorry. Sometimes I get lost in the story and I forget what I'm doing. Forget who I'm talking to here. Forget I got an audience. Well, gotta get more on this. Yeah, this person gets what they want. Ooh. I'm hoping that this King of Wands in reverse isn't this your person. Let's get this last card here in this row and see what happens. Oh, there's that Devil card again. Damn it! But it's in reverse. Which means, it can mean several things, but in this case it means they know. Because it landed right on top of the Ace of Swords. They know that they have issues. They know that they've been toxic. They know they carry something. This could be childhood trauma or issues. This person could be like an avoidant or have some of those kind of, characteristics. But yeah, they know that they need to work on themselves. I'm going to get to the next row here before I go on. Damn! Oh, I'm sorry, I get carried away. I don't like that card. I don't like these double cards and the King of Wands in reverse and now the King of Swords in reverse. This person, whoever I'm talking to today, you are dealing with someone who is controlling, toxic, manipulative, up in their game. They know they have to come in and tell the truth, but I wouldn't trust them when they do, because they're probably not going to tell you the truth, not the whole truth anyway. They know they have to, but this King of Swords energy is telling me, oh, good luck getting any truth out of this person. Only truths that are painful. Maybe. Yeah, they're stuck. They're caught in a cycle. They just keep going round and round and round and round in the same cycle. Seems to me like they do have an issue. They do have some sort of avoidance or characteristic where they run away. They run off. And then they want to come back. And then they'll run off. You don't know where they're running off to. You're thinking, your intuition at least is telling you that they're players. They're messing around. They're giving that the love, what they should have been given to you, they're giving to somebody else. That's what you're thinking, and that looks like that's what's going on. I'm sorry to have to say that. I always, I want a good reading. I want something positive. I want something, but there is something positive here. You've got a clue. You're no dummy, like I said, and you're not going to stop or just quit or give up or what on your life. You've got the World card in the upright. You're moving ahead. You're elevating. You're looking back at this toxic devil, and you're going, man, I'm out of here. I gotta go. I gotta evolve. And they're back here with the death card in the reverse. They're not going anywhere. They could if they made the right decisions, but they're past everything that they've learned, everything that they've gathered up, when how many years, this toxic energy that they've been collecting for all these years or whatever has held them down. They can't progress. They're stuck. Okay? And don't let them pull you back into this vicious cycle here of coming, going, deceiving, keeping you in your head, not knowing, up all night, wondering where in the heck they are, what they're doing. You don't want to get pulled back into that. I don't see them healing. I only see them knowing that they need to heal. But I do see this. They're dead set on this beginning. If they're the King of Wands in reverse, which they are, and they're the Knight of Swords energy, very controlling, very manipulative, drive you nuts, basically. Gaslight you so bad. The King of Wands can be, hot-tempered in reverse and really spoiled and used to getting what they want. They might not want to take no for an answer here. But you can't trust them either. They got the roving eye. If they see something they like, they just go after it. You can't live like that. So, yeah, you don't want to get pulled back into this. They know, okay, if they've had boundaries and, they've kind of pushed you away, like they want to do everything their way because they're this King of Swords energy, it's got to be their way or the highway. They're in control. They'll gaslight you a million different ways to make you think you're crazy or whatever. But they're going to run. They're going to steer the ship here. They're going to control things. Come hell or high water here. But in order to have this Sun card with you, they're going to have to be vulnerable. They're going to have to be vulnerable. They're going to have to let their guards down, not be avoidant. They're going to have to come forth. They're going to have to be truthful as they can be. And they're going to have to seem vulnerable around you. Because obviously this person has held back their emotions from you. They might have demonstrated those emotions very heavily if you were in an intimate situation. But otherwise, you could be in that intimate situation, then you're an hour later in another room, having coffee or something, and then they just start treating you like you're nothing, like you're worthless, or saying stupid stuff to you that hurts your feelings, and they don't even know what, they don't even care, right? So, and you wonder, why are they acting like this? What brought this on, It's just because they're in their own head. They're trying to play you down so that makes them feel bigger and better, Okay. Looking at my clock over here. Don't want to run out of time. Okay, I think I'll be all right for a few more minutes before my camera shuts off on me. Anyway, So yeah, they were arrogant towards you. They're an arrogant person. They might have made you cry even. You know, they made it seem like they didn't need you. That they could just be just well enough on their own. And they got a big ego and this and that. But they want to come back. Because they think you're amazing. You know, if you escape this person, they want to reel you back in. Put you back in the net. They're independent. They're non-committal, too. So if you want to get commitment out of this person, I don't think that's going to happen. They're attention seeker. You know, they like to flirt. They like to carry on like that. You know, and they like their freedom, but they're, you know, they might carry on like they have a lot of money, or, you know, they might have a nice house and things like that. But in reality, that could be a front. They could just be holding up an image. They could be having some kind of money issues too, or they're, you know, working on money. This person likes the creature comforts. Just because they got this devil energy doesn't mean they go around as a devil, you know. It's just something that they're carrying with them that is not healthy for them or anybody else they're involved with. They have an avoidant thing, you know. Non-committal, they're arrogant. They say mean things. I'll take just a couple of these. I say just a couple and then I end up taking half the deck. We'll see. Yeah, you're looking at other options here. You're trying to avoid this person, even though you felt there was love there. Okay, someone wants to flirt with you. Somebody new. Somebody else. They think you're funny and sweet, okay? Well, this is nice. You just keep moving ahead here. Because you got somebody else looking at you. Well, Christmas is coming up, you know. Some of you might be treating yourself to an elaborate new gift. Like a car, a trip, a cruise, something a little bit bigger than you normally think about doing for yourself. But some of you might be treating yourselves to something fancy or nice. Yeah, you were dealing with somebody who was an attention getter. Yeah. And they might be depending on alcohol now, maybe more than ever, just to get through what they've been going through. They got a lot going on. You know, like I say, they've been very disturbed. I think it's work. I think it's family. I think it's community. Everything. They're all caught up in something. Could be gossip, whatever. You know, and they've been in their head about that. Like I say, just thinking about you and the future that they might have with you is causing them to feel better. You know, makes them feel better. Whether they're going to come forward or not here towards you, I don't see that. They're still procrastinating, you know, which is kind of good for you. Let this person have a chance to see if they can heal, see if they can move in more of a positive direction, because they know what's wrong with them. They really do. Even though they might have, like, come off as a narcissist or an avoidant or something like that, they know the issue. But like I say, they're non-committal and they're arrogant and they're up in their ego. They're a mess. Yeah, you felt that this person seduced you. You know, like you were seduced by a clever player. And that's what it looks like here, for sure. Yeah, some long-awaited truth is going to be exposed. Yeah, something more information that you need to know. Something's going to be exposed. Okay, this truth might be about this person who wants to flirt with you. The card says here somebody wants to take you out on a date, so this person who thinks you're funny and sweet. You've changed. You have. I think with this World card you've elevated. You're just not the same person anymore. Probably learned a big lesson from this. And you're probably still learning from it. Well, that was your reading for today. No real conclusion here. Looks like more waiting. See if this person can get out of this cycle. Otherwise, you know what you're doing, Libra. You're moving ahead. You're not letting any grass grow underneath your feet here in this situation. You've been in some pain. You've been in some agony, but I see you doing better. Now, don't be surprised if this person doesn't try and approach you. Come back in some fashion here. But they blew it in the past. You want to make sure that they don't suck you back into this cycle, this in and out, this you don't know what they're doing, that kind of energy, They're not telling you how they feel. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. We'll look at the story some more next time. Until then, Libra, peace and love to you.